What's up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Tasha, and I'm gonna explain to you guys where I've been. I haven't posted since March 2022, and I'm just gonna explain everything that has happened and sorry, notifications. Just kind of give you guys a brief rundown of what's been going on and everything. So bear with me for a minute as I just adjust the camera here. So let's go back to 2021. You guys know that I moved out of my parents' house in 2021 into a bachelor apartment, which you guys knew that the lady upstairs was schizophrenic, and she just didn't like the fact that her husband was renting out the bachelor apartment, and then the fire department ended up showing up because of the electrical, and I ended up having to move because of a fire that had happened. And you know, once that happens, you don't really want to live in a place that the landlord doesn't want to do anything, or the owner of the house doesn't want to do anything about. So because she was schizophrenic and like on drugs and hard drugs, and it wasn't just like marijuana, it was like she was on coke and what was the other one, meth and coke and a couple other hard drugs that I don't really want to talk about, but police were involved, Children's Aid was involved, and that house ended up going up for sale, and they ended up having to, move from there. So that was that. And then me being a renter, I had to move as well because obviously I couldn't live there. I moved from there to here, and from here I had people living upstairs. Now, since I moved in, you guys know that there has been, I've briefly mentioned a lot of issues going on. There was a open gate, well, there is a open grate that I can pretty much see right through the unit to upstairs, and currently I have it taped off, and just so that they can't see downstairs and I can't see upstairs, because of issues that have happened throughout the year. So we'll just brief with that. There was the noise issues, there was parking issues, there was a lot of harassment, a lot of the lady thinking she owned this place and could do what she wants because she wanted to do it. There was a lot of my landlord not really doing anything on my behalf, but doing things on theirs, and it just, it's not a healthy environment. It hasn't been a healthy environment. The what is it? The landlord and tenant board is actually involved, and there is a whole thing that is going on. Sorry, I'm hearing noise. But there's a whole thing that's going on, and the tenant board is now involved, and I'm being kicked out. Well, technically they're trying to evict me, but they're not gonna evict me because I'm gonna fight it, and I'm gonna make sure that no matter what, I'm not losing my place, because I wasn't the one that caused all the problems, and I wasn't the one who did anything to start the issues. It was always the people upstairs that basically did everything and put it on me, as if I was doing it, and because my landlord believes them and believed whatever they would tell him, basically he took their side. And now, when I went to Trinidad in November 2022, um, I ended up coming back home, and only August 2023 did I find out that my landlord had actually filed against me with the Landlord and Tenant Board for an eviction. So I wasn't even in Canada. I never received the paperwork. I was gone away, and I'm pretty sure that the people upstairs took the paperwork or threw it away, whatever mail I received. So I never received anything for that month, and basically, I haven't really received much of mail since. I have changed my address to my mailing address to my mom's address, where I know I will receive my mail if I need to receive anything important. It'll go there. But everything else comes to this address, and there really isn't much in that case. So, with that being said, there is a battle between my landlord and myself. I also requested for a peace bond, which is basically a restraining order against the tenants that used to live upstairs, because I want a no contact order against them. Even if they don't live on the property, I don't want them around, and I obviously have enough evidence for it to go to hearing, and so I had to prove my evidence and explain everything under oath to a justice of peace, which is basically like a judge, just for this kind of stuff. And I had to explain to him everything that went on and all the information that I had against them, and in order to summons them to the hearing. So we ended up going to hearing, and basically they didn't have the disclosures, which is the package that they would have received in order to get that notice to show up. So she had one, but her husband didn't, and I don't understand how he didn't have his, but it's whatever. I still want to make sure and go through with, giving both of them a peace bond, and it's gotten to that point. So now I'm basically living in a house with nobody upstairs. I don't know what my landlord's plans are for this place. It could go up for sale. He could have somebody moving in. I don't know what his plans are because I haven't spoken to him since August, and there's been very minimal conversation with him. So I want to kind of keep it that way, because either way, I'm going to sue him, and I'm going to go after him for an eviction of bad faith, because he's trying to get me out on things that they caused, and they did, and I have proof of it. I have a binder that is 3 inches thick of papers of everything that has gone on, and I have over 10,000 videos and photos of evidence that I've saved on my phone, and so it's also on a hard drive, so everything is going to be used against him. Once that's done, I have 2 years in order to go after the people that lived here for damages and sue them as well. So in the process of doing both, just gonna kind of take it baby steps at a time and figure out what my next steps are. I want the peace hearing, the peace bond, and then I'm gonna go after them to move forward on that part. So yeah, even if they don't live here and I don't have their new address and I don't want their new address, I could still retain the information by getting a paralegal to look into it. And I myself, I am a paralegal. I just recently got my certificate to become a paralegal, and I'm not going to work for myself in this case, but I can have somebody else look into it, just because I don't want to withhold that information, and I really don't care where they moved. Um, but a paralegal can look into it, or a lawyer can look further into obtaining the address to, proceed with charges against them and suing them. So they haven't run away. They will end up getting sued, and I will make sure of it because I went 3 years of living in hell with the people upstairs, and it's only not even 48 hours since they've been gone. And I'm sure they're going to be back every single day until the first of the month. Just because they want to harass me and keep harassing me. And, with that being said, that's kind of a brief rundown of everything in the housing era. Moving forward, I'll talk a little bit about my health. So, the past year, I've had a lot of issues with, obviously being sick with COVID, and then sick with the flu. Then I ended up having an anemic attack. I don't know what it's called, but where your iron goes really, really low, and you end up with bruising all over your legs and arms and everything. So I ended up with that. I ended up in the hospital for that. Got out of the hospital. Then recently, last week, I ended up going back into the hospital because I had a fever that was 40.6. If you guys don't know, that is an extremely high fever and can potentially be life-threatening, being that high. So I ended up going into the hospital and staying overnight. So I had to be put on an IV drip and everything, and had blood work and tests and all kinds of things with that. Then also in May of 2022, I was also I did a scan for my breasts, and they did find cancer and a lump. So we are further looking into that and just kind of trying to figure out, where that is and what to do next. So we're looking into that to see if it's worse than what it really is. But anyways, I'm okay in that. Health-wise, I'm doing okay right now. Surviving. Obviously, them moving out is a lot of stress, a lot of weight that comes off my shoulders, and I'm actually planning to work on my own mental health. Girls, in January 2022, I lost my dad, and then in June 2022, I had to put my cat down due to the fact that I was blocked in by my landlord, who didn't want to move his vehicle to allow me to go to an emergency vet. And it was just a day of all hell breaking loose, and my cat had a seizure, and she ended up having a seizure with blood in her urine. And I took her to the vet the next day, and the vet told me that there was basically nothing that they could do to help me because she was too sick in order to receive medical attention, and I ended up having to put her to sleep. So I ended up having to put my cat down, and then I ended up getting hamsters, which I now have 5, whereas I started with 2. Then I got another 2, which became 4. Then they had babies, which became 7. And now I have 5. So yeah, I have 5 hamsters and 2 guinea pigs who, I don't know, I've seen So I went to the pet store and I seen Cammy, who is my guinea pig, my brown guinea pig. She was placed into another cage to be cleaned, like for her cage to get cleaned. The worker placed her into a separate cage with two other guinea pigs. Now, if you know any kind of animal, you place them in a solitary area and they will fight. So I seen that Cammy was getting hurt and the other two guinea pigs that was separated originally, so she was by herself. Then she's placed with two other guinea pigs and in their own cage. It's not like they were in an open area where they can run and play. No, she was placed into their territory while her cage was being cleaned. So I ended up adopting her because I didn't like the fact that I was watching two other animals attack this small little thing because she's coming into their territory, and it just didn't feel right. So I ended up adopting her, and then I was off work for a very long time. So since March 22, 23, March. Oh, I went back in March of 2023 to work, but I was off from October 2022. So October 2022, I was off until March 2023. And when I returned, I had Cammy, and Cammy was very one that I would sit with every day, and she's very attention seeking. So I ended up having to get another guinea pig for her to have someone to be with all the time because I can't give my whole time to her. It's just too much, and she's too needy and too noisy even when I just take out Eve, which is my newer guinea pig. If I take her out of the cage, Cammy will freak out and squeal, and it's like a non-stop storm of guinea pig squeals. So I can't separate the two, and obviously she has separation anxiety. So I'm stuck with two. So altogether I have 7 pets, but they don't really make a mess unless they're out of their cage. So they're small animals, it's whatever. I take care of them, I clean after them and everything. So with that being said, that's my pets. So I've gone over my health, my housing, my pets, work. Like I said, I was originally a daycare teacher that, I loved my job, I loved my career and everything, and the daycare actually, I had to leave / got let go. It was kind of like a in between. The day that I was going to quit is the day that I got let go. So it was kind of like a mutual thing, but even then, the only reason why I wasn't able to continue working there is because of the people upstairs, and because of them, I ended up losing that job. Then I ended up going to another job, I was working at Popeyes, and then I ended up losing the job at Popeyes, and I went to Harvey's, and I ended up losing the job at Harvey's. But altogether, I couldn't commit to a full-time job because the people upstairs were making me take time off work. And if you can't commit to time off, your work, then you get written up, or you get your hours get deducted, and eventually it just didn't work out. So I lost 3 jobs in that case. After Harvey's, I moved into getting my school bus license, and I was working for one company, and I left that company because they didn't have a parking spot in the yard for me, so I had to park my bus outside of the yard, um, which was very difficult for me because, again, the people upstairs didn't like the school bus being parked outside the house, or like where I was originally parking at the school, at a school, the bus was being broken into. So there was some there was things that I couldn't really fix in that sense. And my that bus company didn't want to do anything to help me in any way, so I walked away from that company and that job. And I found my current company, which is another school bus company, and I'm absolutely loving working there. I love the kids that I have on my bus, and it just feels very family oriented, even though we're not even related. It still feels like a very big family environment, and that's something that I really love about the company. Um, so that's my job, which I don't know if I'm going to be leaving or if I'm going to be staying. I feel like I really need time to just take to myself now that there's nobody living upstairs and nobody to continue to put that stress on me, or that pressure and stress, and the stress of not being able to communicate with the person that owns the house and not doing anything about any of the issues. Um, that stress is still kind of there, but also gone because the problem that was creating it is gone. Um, so I don't know what's gonna happen in that case, but I am here till next spring, and I'm going to keep fighting for, like I said, my housing and my situation, and I'm gonna, try to figure out what I can do to work with my landlord and do the things that I need to do to make that relationship a little bit better between him and I, because to be honest, I feel like he doesn't know who I am, and the only way that he knows me is because of the issues that have been resolved by the people upstairs and those issues. So he only knows me as somebody who complains all the time because of the people upstairs, and I don't want to be known as that person. Like, I'm not that person. If you're going to cause an issue with me, yes, I will discuss it with my landlord, but I'm not one to start a fight or to cause problems. There's very minimal communication I like to keep to myself. I don't like to communicate with others. So there's that. And then I also don't know if he's putting up the house for sale or anything like what could potentially happen in the near future. But with all of that being said, that's kind of the update to the past 3 years, and I'm hoping that I can come back to my channel and bring videos back to the channel and just start up all over again and keep building my subscribers and, growing, and just kind of figure out what to do next. Like, do I go into therapy? Do I stay home? Do I continue to work but also go to therapy and figure out my health situation? Like, do I need to go into doing chemo or like radiation even, or like something? Like, everything's still kind of up in the air. And then also I'm suing the people upstairs, so even though they don't live here anymore, I'm still pressing those charges and suing them for damages and everything, because I dealt with it for 3 years. And so I'm gonna kind of figure out what I need to do there. My mom and I are working on that. And then we have the peace bond, which is a no contact, basically a restraining order, just a civil restraining order, so it can potentially affect employment, which is another thing that I need to look into, because I need to make sure that it's not going to affect my employment, even though, you know, even if they don't show up, I'm still going to press charges, because it is so when you're summoned to court, you have to show up, and they are summoned to go back to court on the 6th, and I have to go too, because I am the one that pressed the bond against them. So I have to make my appearance to show that I am there to witness them signing the peace bond. And so I basically, I have to agree to have them sign it and agree to the conditions and everything. So yeah, basically that's that. And then, like I said, my landlord's going after me to evict me for no reason, so I'm gonna fight him as well, and go after damages and everything that has gone on here, like the non-stop over 300 events that have happened. So it's going to be a very busy year coming up because of all of the court stuff, and everything going on. But I feel like after yesterday, when I looked and I seen the clouds in the shape of angel wings, I definitely feel like my dad is watching over me, because he knows from like day one, he knew all the issues that were going on. And when he had his heart attack, like, you have that, that's something that I'm still grieving over, and still I haven't had that peace and quiet to be able to grieve over his loss. I kind of just, put it aside and move forward with my life, which is okay too. But at the same time, like, I would like to go into therapy and help myself mentally in that era, to be able to deal with other things that I struggle with and other things that need to be dealt with. But with that being said, we are going into almost half an hour now into the video. So I'm gonna end it here. I am tired. I'm very exhausted. Being sick and then having other health issues and stress and everything else is a lot. It's a lot that's been put on my body, and I'm very tired these days. So I'm gonna go to bed and just kind of take time to myself and figure out what my next steps are, and hopefully maybe this year do Christmas here and do Christmas dinner here, or at least a family dinner or something, because with the people that lived upstairs, my family and my friends don't even want to come around. Like, they know that I'm not the person to cause a conflict or start fights or anything like that. Like, my friends and my family know that I'm very quiet and keep to myself, and I will open my mouth if I have to, but I'm not gonna like run you down so that you feel weak to the point where like there's nothing you can do. I'm not that type of person. I will say what I have to say, and then that's it. And I think the people realize that I'm not one to fight with, because I'm really not gonna fight back, and clearly they left. So in a way I won there. But I think I'm gonna go and hang out with my animals and just take care of me and So that way there tomorrow I can clean up this place and do my laundry and, you know, get things that need to be done so that I can relax and take time to myself next month and focus on healing mentally and just everything that needs to be worked on can be worked on, and yeah, start the new year different. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Yeah, that's basically it.